The first-class cabin was soaked in quiet luxury. Crystal glasses clinked softly, leather seats glowed under ambient lights, and a hush blanketed everything like velvet at 30,000 feet. Then, without anyone noticing, Keanu Reeves stepped inside. No entourage, no flash, just a weathered brown leather jacket draped over a faded gray hoodie. His dark jeans contrasted sharply with the pressed suits and polished shoes around him. He moved like a man invisible by choice, not circumstance, hands in pockets, expression unreadable. He slid into seat 1A by the window without drawing a single glance. No one looked up. No one recognized him. He placed a worn backpack beneath the seat, leaned back slightly, and closed his eyes. Outside, the sun bled into the runway in amber streaks. He did not check his phone, glance around, or fidget. Peace, that was all he seemed to want. Then came the sound of heels, sharp, expensive, and commanding. Sophia Grant had arrived. She carried herself like royalty in a tailored navy blazer and gold-buttoned power pants. Sunglasses perched high, confidence even higher. She walked down the aisle like it belonged to her, because it usually did. Flight attendants straightened. Passengers subtly glanced. And when her eyes landed on seat 1A, her polished gaze narrowed. Leather jacket, hoodie, no Rolex, no briefcase. She did not recognize the man, but she recognized someone who didn't belong. She turned to the nearest stewardess and whispered something quietly. The woman nodded, hesitating, then headed to the cockpit. Sophia claimed her seat across from Keanu, seat 1B, and adjusted her cuffs with deliberate grace, placing him directly in her line of sight. She didn't speak, not yet, but her smile said everything. This was her court, and he had just entered it. Sophia kept sneaking glances from behind her oversized sunglasses. She could not place him, and that irritated her. No accessories, no tech, no performance. Just a man, and a quiet one at that. The longer he sat there without noticing her, the more uncomfortable she grew. She leaned forward slightly, her voice laced with a fake politeness sharp enough to draw blood. "Excuse me," she said. "I think you might be in the wrong seat." Keanu blinked and turned his head toward her. Calm and silent, he said nothing. She smiled tightly, the kind of smile that masks judgment. "This is first class, premium boarding, assigned seating." When he remained quiet, she doubled down with a patronizing chuckle. "It's easy to get confused. Happens all the time, I'm sure." Still no reply. Finally he spoke, voice soft but anchored. "I'm in the right seat." Her eyes flickered. She wasn't used to being stonewalled. "Well, the rest of us come prepared," she said, scanning his hoodie with disdain. "Tailored jackets, appropriate footwear, that sort of thing." Keanu turned his gaze back to the window. He didn't need to argue. The silence was its own verdict. But to Sophia, it felt like dismissal, and nothing bruised her ego faster. Her nails tapped against her wine glass like a warning bell, echoing through a cabin that remained obliviously calm, except at seats 1A and 1B. She tried again, now dropping all subtlety. "You clearly don't fit in here," she hissed. He still didn't flinch, and that silence made her snap. With a sudden movement she stood. Her voice trembled not with fear, but fury. "I'm talking to you," she said. And when he turned with that maddening calm still etched across his face, she slapped him, hard. The sound cracked through the cabin like a gunshot. Fork paused midair. A gasp escaped someone's lips. Keanu's cheek reddened, but his eyes remained still, unmoved, unshaken, unbothered. He faced her fully, voice lower now, but heavier. "Is that all you have?" The words hit her harder than her own slap. It wasn't anger. It wasn't shame. There was clarity. Around them, the cabin went quiet in a new way. Not luxury, but consequence. People pretended not to watch, but no one had missed the moment. Sophia stood still, breathing unevenly, unsure what had just happened, unsure of herself for the first time in years. Then came a stewardess from the galley, gentle but swift. holding a folded blanket and a sleek black envelope. She stopped beside Keanu's seat, her voice lowered in reverence. "Mr. Reeves, we are so honored to have you with us." Sophia's heart dropped. The stewardess continued. "The captain sends his regards, and your vehicle on arrival has been upgraded. Everything is waiting." The envelope was set gently on his tray table. Keanu nodded politely. "Thank you." And just like that, her whole perception collapsed. Sophia stared at him, eyes wide, breath caught. "Mr. Reeves, Keanu Reeves." Course, the voice, the calm, the humility, the headlines, the awards, the stories, it all clicked. And she had slapped him. She had mocked him, belittled him, dismissed him like he was beneath her. She hadn't just been wrong. She had been cruel. And now the silence he held wasn't just unsettling. It was deserved. She sat frozen in her seat. Her hand tingled with the sting of regret more than impact. It wasn't guilt, not yet, but something worse. The realization that she had shown her true self to a stranger who never once tried to judge her. She had lost the game she thought she was playing, and he had never even played it. Sophia sat in silence for over an hour. Words came to her lips and died before they could escape. She, who always had the last word, found herself shrinking beneath the stillness of a man who had done nothing but exist. And it burned. But not because she was being punished. No, she was being ignored. Keanu didn't gloat, didn't look superior. He simply existed with the ease she had spent her whole life faking. Finally, she whispered to herself, "Screw it," then spoke louder. "Keanu." He looked at her, not cold, not defensive, just present. "I was wrong," she said. The words felt clunky but real. "Wrong about you. About all of it. I thought if I could rattle you, I'd win something. But I don't even know what I was trying to win anymore." She paused, breathing through the crack in her composure. "I built my whole life on performance, power, control, and you just exist. Without apology, without effort." Keanu leaned forward, voice low but sure. "That doesn't make you weak. It makes you tired." That landed harder than anything she expected. Her voice dropped. "I don't know how to be anything else." And Keanu simply said, "You don't have to. You just have to stop pretending it's power." There it was. Not an insult, but a mirror. Sophia Grant, the woman who once silenced rooms with her stride, was unraveling. But for the first time in her life, it didn't feel like falling apart. It felt like something new, something raw, real. The cabin lights dimmed as the pilot's voice crackled overhead. "We've begun our descent into London." Around them, champagne flutes were cleared and blankets folded. Sophia sat upright, not with pride, not for image, but with stillness. Beside her, Keanu adjusted his jacket, slipped the envelope into his backpack, and stood slowly, gracefully. He turned to her before stepping out. Small smile. "You've learned more than you realize," he said. "Sometimes letting go of control is the only way to find peace." She nodded. Not in defeat, but in understanding. "Thank you," she whispered. He gave a final nod, then vanished into the corridor, leaving no weight behind. Just an echo of stillness. Sophia remained in her seat a moment longer. Then she removed her sunglasses. Not dramatically, but as release. The flight had ended, but something within her had just begun. Outside the window, the city stretched golden across the skyline. Years ago, that skyline had stirred pride. Today it looked quieter, not meaningless, just no longer something she needed to conquer. For once, she was not performing. She was existing. The power was still there, but it was softer now. Focused, real. Some people announce themselves with force, others with ego. But some, like Keanu Reeves, carry such a steady, grounded energy that their silence speaks louder than any roar. Sophia Grant spent her life fighting for attention, respect, dominance. But after one quiet flight and a moment of stillness, she found something she never knew she needed: peace.